All right, here we are, episode 4 of Curling in the Squat Rack. We have my co host, Mr. Chad Vandal, and we brought along a special guest, John Bronson. Truth be told, he gets automatic because I don't know if we're going to. Maybe we'll talk. He is expecting, which is fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
No,
I guess I'll
we've
go
we've
ahead and
talked
dox
about it
that out.
privately,
Sorry, man.
but
I didn't. I
huge
forgot to ask you about that
congratulations.
before I said it. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. But today's
Definitely
episode.
excited, a little bit nervous, but it's normal.
Yeah, so if for future reference, if you are going to be having a baby, we'll get you a spot on the podcast. But we got a pretty good topic. We're going to start a series on training principles, just for the simple fact I noticed a lot of the guys on the thread are newer to training. They are not. They are. I hate to use the word noobs, but I wish I was still a noob, to be honest. Whenever you're a
Oh
noob, you
yeah.
can gain
No,
strength all the time.
beginner teams are amazing. They just pile on, and no, and it's one of those things that you have to. We've talked about it before, but you have to change the way you train as you progress in this sport. And yeah, everybody wishes they could go back and pick up some noob gains. So no, I'll never hate on a new gym person.
What's that phrase? Everything works, nothing works forever.
Yep.
What is it? Everything stays the same, but everything's changing.
But to start off the series, we're doing intensity, which is a great topic. You have to have some form of intensity. Whenever I looked up intensity on Wikipedia, it basically just said it's your heart rate. The faster your heart rate goes, the more intense the workout is. I do kind of agree with that, but I do have qualms with it. What about you guys?
I so there's I look at intensity as kind of two different things, right? Is there's the physical intensity, and there's the mental intensity, right? So I mean, there's probably 100 different fitness experts out there that they have 100 different definitions for intensity, but I kind of look at it as your ability to push past whatever physical limits, and make progress. That's kind of how I would define it, right? So what's progress for you and what's progress for me are completely different things. We have different goals, we have different diets, we train differently. But the idea of having an intense mental workout and an intense physical workout where, are you going super fast? Maybe that's intense, right? Are you slowing things down and working on a mind to muscle connection? Hey, that's also intense. The biggest example that I can think of off the top of my head is seated leg extensions, right? Love doing them. That's a fantastic way in my mind to warm up your quads right before doing squats. I will put on, lightweight and then go like painfully slow, and just the whole building's on fire and I don't care, because like the only thing that exists is, that leg, that quad, that rep. And, it really gets my mind ready for an intense squat session. But you have to kind of stimulate your mind so that you can stimulate your muscles and grow and change. Because I've seen it on social media, I've seen it in real life, but there's guys that you'll guys and girls that they will train for an entire year and make zero visual progress, and you're like, like what are you doing? You're wasting your time. And chances are their diet's wrong. They're not lifting correctly with the right form. Or guess what? Their intensity is off. They're showing up and they're checking the block. All right, I'm here. I'm at the gym. I checked in on Facebook, so everybody knows I'm here. But I'm gonna hop from machine to machine to machine, and maybe I'll break a little bit of a sweat 20 minutes in, and then I'm gonna go hit the jacuzzi. And Then they get frustrated after 6 months, and then they're like, if they last 6 months, then they get frustrated, and they're like, well, okay, I guess I'm never coming back. And that from that point on, Equinox is collecting a monthly uh, membership fee from somebody that ain't showing up, which is not too many people.
Welcome, Jacob. Glad to see you in the chat. What about you, Mr. Bronson? What do you think when you hear the word intensity?
I definitely have to agree with what Chad just said, but I also looked up something that said intensity has to do with the weight you're using. Like if you're doing low weights, low reps, you're not getting anything out of that. But if you're doing heavy weight, low reps, or you're doing low weight with a lot of reps, it's all about how much combined weight you're pushing your body through something. You got to keep going, run track on whatever you're doing.
I think my most intense are singles. I mean, you doing a max single, it's pretty fucking intense. I mean, it doesn't get more intense than having to hype yourself up to do as the heaviest weight you could pick up.
Yeah, no, and I think that goes back to the mental aspect that I kind of alluded to is, preparing yourself mentally for, I'm about to deadlift, hundreds of pounds. I'm about to squat hundreds of pounds. I'm about to bench press hundreds of pounds. Like this is enough weight that could hurt me. Well, guess what? You have to mentally prepare yourself for that. Which, hey, if one rep is all you got, then make that the most intense one rep ever.
Better be smashing a PR.
Yeah, smashing a PR, hit a little ammonia salt, smelling salts, just eat that weight up. Do it. Get it up.
Take some Brand's bathtub crank.
You're, that's another factor. External intensity factors. Some people like to crank up the heavy metal.
Yes.
And,
no.
Like you said, the smelling salts. That's another way. Those externally crank up your intensity. I lifted for a few months with just listening to the softest stuff I could possibly find, like Christian pop and, or really soft Yanni type music because I read a paper about how if you can do it whenever you're listening to something that's very soothing, you definitely would be able to do it listening to something heavy and, not expending kind of like caffeine, caffeine whenever you haven't drank it forever and then you drink it, you're going, but then you drink
like
it
resetting
for
your
you kind of get built up on
sensor.
that heavy metal or heavier intense music to where you almost need it. So but the external factors is definitely something else too.
Yeah, no, the music aspect, the chemical stuff, huge factors, and that's one of those in my opinion. When you progress to a certain point and you need to reevaluate your intensity or your plan or your program, that's when you can throw stuff in and like, oh cool, all right, cool, now I'm going to change the genre of music that I'm listening to, or changing gyms too is another one. Just kind of, you go to a different gym and you're like, whoa, all right, the atmosphere is different here. It's softer, it's more intense. I've got 3 different gyms that I will go to depending on what day it is and what I'm trying to work out. And there's one particular gym that, like I can walk in there and I know I'm going to have an amazing deadlift session just because like the people that go there lift heavy. It is a, like, especially in the area that we would go deadlift in. I mean, I at one point in time been hanging out and there's like 5 people deadlifting. Like we were out of platforms. There's dudes just deadlifting in the middle of the walkway, and you're just kind of like, well,
oh, that's my gym.
But it's just like that pumps me up, and I'm like, now I want to lift even more. I want to push myself harder because it's that, like that's an external intensity factor.
Different gyms are definitely designed differently. Like mine is a power builder gym. So there's a lot of focus on powerlifting, But you got your area for bodybuilding and whatnot, but all the racks are always taken. It is so hard to deadlift, squat. You got to go in at the night or early in the morning, weekends in the morning, if you want a platform all to yourself.
Oh, we got Dan in the chat. He's asking. He's actually given a few of the things that crack me up. Tear your anus muscle or get a hernia lifting too hard. If you do it improperly, yes, you can blow your butthole out. And the whole fight thing, that shit cracks me up. How many fights have you been in, Dan? That's
everybody ask people that go to the gym if they can fight.
Yeah.
Why does that always go hand in hand?
Strength is never a weakness. And I don't know if I have talked to you about this or not, Dan, but I do have a background. I'm not up to Tonka Saw's level or anything, but I do have a background. Anyway, the way I mess around with intensity is I'll shorten rest periods. That's another way.
Huge, yeah.
Good for fat loss.
Well, so, and you can also, and this is one of the things that I've done, depending on, again, if I'm trying to cut and I want to keep my heart rate up.
Can you not hear him?
Am I muted? No, my rest period is, like I'm jogging in place, or I'm doing crunches, or, like if I'm doing chest, I'll drop down and do push-ups or something like that. So it's okay, I'm resting, my primary muscle group that I'm working, but I'm still doing something to keep my heart rate up. I'm keeping my mind in the game. So yeah,
There's another little inside joke. Yes, Tonka does have a legit cardio. He's good at running away. Sorry, we got half a troll here. Dan's all right though. I like him. With that intensity, man, it's something to where you gotta have some sort of, you gotta get your heart rate up. I hate that it's like the main thing is to just get your heart rate up, because if you type in the search bar, on YouTube search intense workout, you'll just see a bunch of broads doing Zumba, and they'll call that intense. Or you'll see a big old bodybuilder doing a bunch of, like the curls where they just start at the top of the stack and then work their way down and call that intense. In a way, that is intense, but that's not using intensity smart.
No, again, I don't necessarily agree with that, because there's varying theories on, like, for instance, you're talking about like doing curls or something like that. Again, what works for me might not work for you, but I will, you go up the rack, down the rack. It's an old Arnold training principle. But basically, I will go until I like just absolute failure, cannot do one single rep left. And then I'll start working my way back down to the point where I will have like little 10-pound dumbbells that I'm trying to curl, and I'm like looking at my arm and there's fucking veins and shit poking out all over the place. It's weird. It's awesome. But I'm struggling to lift a 10-pound dumbbell. And, there's no rest. There's, the intensity is, it's, sky high. And then, go ahead.
That's why I like doing that stuff with forearms, biceps, hamstrings, all that stuff that responds really well to failure. You just take a fairly light weight and you just go ham with it. Sometimes I don't even count the reps. I mean, I do, but then I'm like, all right, we're at 20, 21.
I lose count after like 8 because I'm dumb.
I do agree with the smaller muscle groups, especially. You can definitely hammer them to failure a lot better. I used to remember whenever I would just sit there and just say one like 100 times, be like one. I'm just doing single, guys. One. But so this one's more, I think, for Chad. How much cardio do you recommend a week? I'm not the huge guy to be talking to about cardio.
Hang on. First, I want to address the phrase "tactical fat" for emergencies and economic collapse. It's an absolute cope. You're fat. Stop being fat. There's no such thing as tactical fat. And that's just dumb. You're lazy. Don't be fat. Now, how are you going to not be fat? You're going to do cardio every day. What? This is a lifting podcast, right? No, it's your cardio doesn't have to be like I'm going to strap on the old Adidas and go jog for however long, right? You can do all kinds of stuff for cardio. All you got to do is keep your heart rate up. We've been talking about it all day or this whole episode. But yeah, but the idea of hopping on a treadmill or going for a jog through your neighborhood, it doesn't, I mean, those are great ways to do it. It takes, Mark Bell is a huge proponent of 10-minute walks a day. But it's not like a leisurely stroll. But you know what? Hey, if a leisurely stroll through your neighborhood is the best you can do and that gets your heart rate up, that's cardio. Go do it. I love the idea of, okay, hey, the family just got done having family dinner together. We're gonna throw the kids in the stroller if they're not walking age, if they're whatever. If they can walk with you, they can walk with you, because guess what? They're getting some exercise too, and that's awesome. But yeah, you can jump on the exercise bike, elliptical, treadmill, stair climber, Versa climber, or jump rope. But in the interest of a measurable thing, I would say at minimum 15 minutes. Do 15 minutes of cardio before you go lift. Guarantee you that it completely changes your lifting game, because your heart rate's going to be elevated. You're going to have a nice sweat going, right? Your body and your mind are in exercise mode, so you're not walking in cold. Okay, I did some warm ups. I did some stretches. I did 135 on the bench press, so I'm warmed up now. No, your whole body gets warmed up, and you're gonna have a better workout, and you're gonna activate. You're gonna kick up all kinds of cool stuff that's gonna start burning fat while you're lifting. So, and if you want to get advanced, hey, guess what? You can lift, and then you can do a little bit of cardio again afterwards. And you know what? It's not going to kill your gains. You're still going to build muscle. You're going to also burn some fat.
And hit the punching bag or something,
Yeah. And that'll help your fight skills, because that's super important.
Lifters aren't fighters, right?
Guilty of the not doing proper warm-ups. I get in there.
Everybody is.
I stretch and sit there and do a bunch of kicks in the air to try to loosen up my gosh dang it, hip flexors, do some air squats, and like, all right, let's go ahead and throw 300 pounds on the bar and squat it 5 times. That's smart. Yep. I tell myself every time, I'm like, why'd I do this, moron? But so with the heart rate, let's go ahead and talk about that for a second. So the easiest way to find out your heart rate, as soon as you wake up in the morning, do a resting heart rate just to see where your resting is. And then another thing for your max heart rate, you take 220 minus your age is a good gauge for a healthy person. So that would be your ideal max heart rate. I figure the fitter you are, the closer you can get to higher heart rate. But if you're already one of those guys that's pretty jittery and they run a faster heart rate, then my assumption would be that you'd be closer to that 220 than somebody that has a more sedentary, I said that word wrong, I know I did, heart rate. But I'm not a big fan of the whole heart rate stuff. I do it off of feel, but it is something that, since we are trying to teach people stuff, not everybody can just do stuff off of feel. So I wanted to go ahead and give out that information. That way they're not just thinking that their head's blowing out of their eyeballs are blowing out of their head and they think it's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, be smart about it. I mean, the idea is challenge yourself, but not hurt yourself. But, so the thing that talking kind of, I guess we're kind of in this weird intensity tips kind of things. But what about training with a partner? Like I all of us have trained by ourselves, and I assume all of us have gone to the gym with a buddy. I know, for instance, I can push myself till I'm collapsed on the floor, nearly dead by myself. But when I have somebody that's lifting with me, the game changes a little bit. Like I think all of us, whether we realize it or not, are naturally competitive people. So if you're working out with somebody that is in better shape than you, you're going to push yourself a little bit harder. The inverse, if you're working out with somebody that is not as in good a shape as you, you're going to, you might, I know this is, the case for myself, you're going to slow things down and you kind of go into teaching mode but at the same time, your intensity changes a little bit because you're pushing somebody, which for me anyways, if I'm motivating somebody, I just like my motivation goes off the charts. Like if I'm hyping you up and you just smashed, a kick-ass deadlift and your form was awesome and you're super proud of what you just did. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick up some weights and I'm high off that motivation and I'm gonna do something cool too.
Bullying in the gym.
Well, we've God, I could talk about bullying for days, but you can bully yourself, you know.
Oh yeah, that's the best motivation.
Yeah, I mean, you look at there's got to be some like Facebook meme with like, hey, look in the mirror. There's your competition. Um, I mean, it ain't wrong.
Start having the body dysmorphia and
Oh yeah,
then
I
you
was about
bully
to say,
yourself.
yeah,
The threads are
you're
a
only as
great.
big
The
as your
threads
last
are a
pump.
great challenge. I mean, it's what's kept me motivated, at least with the bulk that I've been doing. That idea of seeing other people's lifts, and I mean, it keeps me motivated. And I am competitive. Me and one other guy, we have an unspoken challenge going on. We haven't told each other yet, but I know we both think it. So I'll post something, and then he'll post something. And I'm like, damn it! Now I got to try to beat that motherfucker.
I've done it. So no, I mean I've done that with cardio. My girl and I have been running on the treadmill, and I mean, I'll look over and she's half a speed higher than me, and so I'll up my incline by one and up my speed by one, and and then 40 a minute later I see she does the same thing, and I'm like, oh great, so it's there's different kind of playoffs that you can do. And it makes it fun too, because then you can kind of, it's not, I wouldn't call it bullying, but you can kind of poke at each other and be like, ha, that's it, that's the best you got, and then up it by two. And, you're dying, but guess what? Your partner, male, female, significant other, doesn't matter. But, the person that you're competing with, realizes that they're going to up their game too. So, yeah, I mean, and you can do the same thing with weightlifting. I mean, I've done that with pull-ups, where I'll see somebody that's doing pull-ups, and I will hey, you done? I'm gonna jump in after you, and I'll work in, and next thing you know, they're doing pull-ups, I'm doing pull-ups, and all right, cool. They did 10, I'm doing 12. Okay, now they just saw me do 12. Now they just put a 45-pound plate around their waist, and they're gonna they're gonna do weighted pull-ups. Great. Now I've got to go find it. You know what I'm saying? My
And
weighted
they're
pull-ups
starting
are
to do
trash.
muscle ups, and then you feel like a bitch.
No, I'm too. I cannot do a muscle up. I have zero coordination.
I think actually I know muscle ups are more. You're right. It's just more the coordination of the movement.
Yeah, I am.
Once you figure
I
it
mean,
out,
I
you figured
cannot.
it out.
I can barely walk and chew gum and talk at the same time. But
Weightlifters are all grug brain.
We got so we talked a little bit about the cardio, raising your heart rate. And we talked a little bit about hitting, having external factors. What do you think? Like you use high reps, right, Chad? As far as whenever
it
you
depends
consider an
on
intense workout.
what I'm doing. But predominantly, yeah, I enjoy high rep, moderate weight stuff. Except for like if I'm training for a particular goal, like if I'm trying to get my deadlift up, or my squats. Squats are a great example, right? So I have 2 leg days in my program. One of them is a heavy day where basically I'm doing doubles and singles, and absolutely, like just incredible failure. And then my other leg day is, that's a high intensity, like I'll throw 225 on that squat bar and then just as fast as I can with as, best form as I possibly can. I'll just rep and then just like the heart rate, the pump, just everything is on fire. Whereas, I'll get done with, a heavy ass, 300 plus pound squat and, I'm exhausted after one rep. And it's a different level of exhausted than, okay, hey, I just did 20 reps of 225 and my guts just fell out of my belly button.
What about you, Bronson? What do you prefer? Do you prefer? I mean, I know from what the threads say, but what do you prefer to get your intensity in?
Basically, just the bodybuilding, 8 to 12. Most what I'm comfortable with, what I think I get the best results from. I do a basic push, pull, legs. Sometimes I'll push it with heavier weight. I'll do like 6 reps, 1 rep. I mix in a little bit of powerlifting to try to up my numbers here and there. Always still experimenting though. Sometimes I'll do a program. Sometimes I'll get bored of PPL. I'll do bro splits.
Yeah.
Sometimes rep ranges vary. I've run programs that say 1 week you do 1 to 3 reps. And then another week we'll say you're going to do 8 to 10 reps. Switching it up, confusing the body, things like that have to do with a lot with bodybuilding.
Yeah, so the way you mess with your intensity is by now whenever you shift. Okay, so if you went from an 6 to 8 rep to a 10 to 12 rep, you would adjust the weight, or would you still use the same weight and do more reps, or would you?
Oh, I definitely adjust the weight. Like if I'm going up in reps, I'm gonna drop the weight a little. Sometimes I'll do drop sets.
Yeah, I just got done messing around with basically a bodybuilder type program where all the rest periods were 60 seconds, and I've always lifted heavy, and that's always kind of what except for whenever I was just tooling around in the gym, not doing anything really. But I've always tried to lift heavy, and those 60-second rest periods, they are humbling.
Yeah, heavy compound lifts, I definitely do like a 60-second rest period to gather myself so I'm good for the next set. But any accessory lifts, I tend to minimize rest periods completely.
And then, so let's check out my little handy dandy notebook. Okay, so there is a thing called FIT, which is a pretty good way to make workouts. If you're looking, it's like frequency, intensity, time, and frequency, intensity, time, and rest is basically what it's. I'm missing one, but the intensity part is just seeing what your percentage of the 1 rep max and then going off of that. So like I said earlier, where the most intense is your 1 rep max. That's kind of where the FIT comes into it. If you're working at 60%, that's not near as intense. But to adjust for the intensity, you do more reps. So whenever I think of intensity, I always think of getting in there kind of just blowing it up. But then whenever I pulled up YouTube, I noticed a lot of, like I said, Zumba and stuff like that. And I've never considered Zumba to be an intense workout. I don't know if maybe I should, get off of take the blinders off and try something different. I definitely feel I need to incorporate some sort of warm up. Maybe I like the rower as far as cardio. If I'm going to do cardio, I prefer the rower, but I do a full body row with it. Try to act like I'm actually rowing a boat. I do like that, but I think I actually need to incorporate. Again, I'm going to go ahead and cop out and say that I don't want to burn the calories because I'm bulking, but I do see at least, I don't know, Chad said it enough times where probably I should at least try it.
As far as
I'm,
warming up
I'm telling
goes,
you guys, it's gonna change everything because you can bulk and still burn fat, right? Just because you're gaining weight doesn't mean that you have to be gaining fat. Um, I mean, it's tough, and you have to eat really clean, and you kind of have to eat a lot. But 15 minutes of warm up cardio isn't going to burn so many calories that you're not gonna build muscle. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna get your heart going. It's gonna get the blood flow, especially if you're one of these people that works in an office or doesn't isn't doing any kind of manual labor, where you're up and moving around a lot. You need to kind of knock the rust off those joints and get a little blood flow going.
that's why I don't even warm up. Doing tree work, I'm slinging trees around all day, bending low with a chainsaw. All my
Yeah.
muscles are stretched out 10 hours a day, and then I get to the gym afterwards. I'm like, I'm ready to just jump in this and do it.
Yep. So what? All right, we're completely off topic from intensity, but do you do any kind of cool down stuff where you're like, okay, cool, I'm relatively warmed up. I just hit, you know, at maximum fatigue on deadlifts. My lower back is just on fire. What do you do to kind of what do you do for injury prevention or anything like that afterwards?
Honestly, I've just given myself more rest periods. If it starts hurting too much, I just don't even work it. I don't know. I haven't figured anything out for myself.
No, but I mean it's something to think about. Is you know I don't know how old you are. I'm a little bit older, right? And it's
Mid
it's something
20s.
I think yeah. So you're not there yet, but trust me, 40 is creeping around the corner. I promise. Um, no, but injury prevention is something that's like especially when you've hurt yourself because guess what? Everybody's gonna hurt themselves at some point in the gym. It's just like a statistical inevitability. Um, so once you've kind of injured yourself a few times, you're gonna kind of figure out that like, hey, that sucks, and I don't want to do that anymore. So warming up and cooling down, and doing all these things, especially after an incredibly intense workout, is a good idea because I mean, imagine your muscles like a rubber band, right? If you're stretching that rubber band intensely, and then you just kind of toss it in the corner or the junk drawer in the kitchen and then the next day you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. Guess what? That rubber band's going to get like stretched out and worn out, and it's going to break. You gotta, you gotta. This is a really bad analogy, and I'm losing my train of thought. But the idea of like, okay, cool, we have now just absolutely taxed this muscle. So we got to feed it, we got to rest it, and we got to make sure that it recovers the right way, so that the next time we train that particular muscle, it's primed and ready to go. So stuff like warm up cardio and cool down stretching, active rest, huge when it comes to injury prevention and keeping the intensity up while you're like especially the active rest. Okay, like okay, cool, we're resting, but we're still moving.
Yeah, days off from the gym, go for a hike or something. Get out and go do something.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go swimming. It's still
Oh man,
summer.
dude. Yep.
Body in motion stays in motion.
So, mm. So
I like to use the foam rollers, and I like back extensions after, just pounding out back extensions after the deadlifts, because
Good
it
warm up
works
for
your
that.
back, but it doesn't kill you.
yeah, so and then a lot of times I've found that you're talking about doing like warm ups and then cool downs and things like that. Back extensions are a huge one. Leg extensions are one of my favorites. I mentioned that before. But basically I'll do my warm up and then my workout, and then I'll do my warm up in reverse as my cool down, and you know no intensity. Everything's kind of slow. you stop, you kind of stretch things out, you flex, relax your, whatever it is that let's say I'm doing legs, right? You flex your legs, you relax your legs, you kind of massage them a little bit. You do different things to basically like break that lactic acid up and move it around so that you can prevent soreness and come back the next day rested, refueled, and ready to do it again.
Yeah, you have to recover. I mean, it's most certainly. I know we're getting away from intensity a little bit, but you always have to recover. Because if you
So
don't, then you're just going to end up injured, and then you won't be able to work out at all. A lot of people foam rolling. Does anybody do any foam rolling? Do they do it post workout, pre workout?
No, but I've been interested.
I was
so
real into because I actually got the certification at one time through that NASM, the one that you seen on MTV all the time back in the day. And their thing was like trying to help people get to where you should be able to third world squat with your toes pointed forward. And um, so they had a lot of foam rolling, they had a lot of banded work. And then I got into that, which I will always recommend, even though it's classified under CrossFit, and I am not a CrossFit person, but I will always recommend the book Becoming a Supple Leopard by Dr. Kelly Starrett. It is a very, very good book that teaches you. There are some flaws in it, I will admit, because he has something the way he squats. But the thing I wanted to really get going about it was, you should be able to, you never hear about these guys in Cambodia having back problems and they're squatting all day. You know what I mean? These guys third world squatting, you never hear about them having back problems, and that's something that is a big thing to me. If our daily life, there's tons of people with back problems. I actually got into it on Twitter where a guy was advocating CrossFit and I was going against it, but he used the things like, dude, people are getting back surgery sitting in a desk. And I'm
yeah,
like, fuck. Now what do I gotta say? I was like, you got me. You know what I mean? It's like, you're right. They do have back. So his thing was, you're gonna have to have back surgery no matter what, or you're gonna have to see an orthopedic surgeon no matter what. So why not do it getting healthy instead of gosh dang it, you understand what I'm saying, getting healthy instead of sitting around and having to do it anyway.
yeah, no. Hey, look, if I'm gonna die under the knife, then I want to have a swole, large and in charge corpse when they have to, like, hey, guess what? There's going to be more than 6 dudes carrying my coffin. Um, but no, no, I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna have to have, well, you're gonna get heart problems regardless. You may as well, yeah, okay. I don't necessarily buy that. Um, I'm not necessarily gonna. I hope I never have back surgery, or any kind of surgery. I mean, it's not that I'm scared of doctors, but it's just one of those things that, like, I'd rather not have somebody cut me open. So if I can prolong my health and vitality because I exercise and I eat well, then why not? And if it gets to the point where hey, fuck, life comes at you hard, and now I've got some kind of cancer. Well, guess what? I'm mentally prepared to deal with that because I have pushed myself physically and mentally for so many years. I'm like, all right, cool, cool. I've beat all these personal best records of running and lifting and swimming and hiking. All right, cool. Now I have a new challenge, and I'm going to attack it head on because I know that I'm mentally as well as physically strong.
It's a fact that being physically strong will make you mentally strong.
You know?
Oh, Dan's coming in hard. He cracks me up. Um, yeah, you gotta get through. That's the best thing about lifting, in my opinion, is whenever you get through something, and that's like this bulk that I'm doing. I keep talking about it, but I mean, gaining 40 pounds is a lot. I mean, and halfway done and it's been 23 weeks, and it's like, gosh dang, and I'm starting to plateau. I talk with this one guy. Shout out to Big Raymond. He fucking mass monster he's becoming. But we were talking. He's like, dude, all you gotta do is add a Snickers bar. You just add a Snickers bar. That's 240 calories. 300 calories a week will gain you half a pound. If you're sitting there just flatlined, if you add just one Snickers bar, and it's like, whenever you talk about it that way, it doesn't make it that bad. But then whenever you sit there and look at the scale every day and you're like, gosh dang it, I'm not gaining any weight, or you get in the gym one day and it's not pushing as well and you're like, what the heck, what's going on? It's easy to get down on yourself, but that's why years of training get you past it. I couldn't imagine starting all over again and having to deal with not getting noob gains. That fucking noob gain, that's what's so great about the noob gains, is you just gain by doing anything. And a lot of people think, oh, well, all I had to do was this and I gained 10 pounds of muscle, and they're 10 years later they're still doing the same thing and they're wondering why they're not gaining anymore.
No, absolutely. And that's one of the things that, I mean, you can go, on the Googles and find, all kinds of articles and studies that, you have to change the way you exercise. The time frame is escaping me right now, but it's something like every 6 to 8 weeks you need to change your program. I love doing bro splits as much as the next guy, right? They're fantastic. They're easy to remember. You know exactly what you're going to do on Monday, right? It's fucking Monday. We're doing chest and tries.
Got to do
Hell
chest.
Yeah, right?
National chest.
What are we doing Tuesday? We're fucking doing legs. Wednesday, shoulders, right? Thursday, doing legs again. Friday, what are we doing? Arms, right? Because Friday night we're going out to the club. We want a good arm pump.
Shoulders too. You got to get some shoulders.
Shoulders are popping. It's one of those things that it's simple. It's easy to remember. Any bro can do it. But guess what? You're gonna have to change the way you train. Otherwise, you're gonna be the dad bod bro that you're still walking around in your high school football varsity jacket 10 years later, like Uncle Rico, talking about how you used to be able to throw a football over a mile. Nobody gives a shit. So you have to change the way you work out. And it's okay, cool. Am I working out in the morning and now I'm going to work out in the evening? Am I going to do cardio in the morning and then work out at night? Flip it vice versa. Am I going to eat different? Am I going to, there's 100 different factors that you can change, right? Am I going to do all barbell work, right? Am I not going to touch a machine? I'm not going to touch a dumbbell, all barbells. Okay. If you put little limits and change one factor, you're tricking your mind. You're like, oh shit, all right, cool. I need to figure out a way to exercise and only use barbells. Neat. All right. These guys that, they're forced into that because they have home gyms or they're in the basement or they're, whatever. There's guys that I know that it impresses the hell out of me, right? They travel a lot for their work. So they're in hotel gyms or there's no gym at all, right? So their only way they're going to get any sort of a pump or get their heart rate going is with body weight stuff, right? And I'm like, how are you gonna stay fit if all you're doing is body weight stuff? And it's tough, right? You have to have that mental focus and keep the intensity super high, but you can do it, right? You can grab a box of copy paper in the back room and fucking do goblet squats with a 15-pound box of copy paper. People might look at you funny, but guess what? You do that for a couple weeks, and Stacy at the front desk is going to see you walking through in your chinos and be like, "Oh shit." What I'm saying? Like, people will notice it, and you're like, "Oh wow, all right, cool, all right, maybe I should go, get a gym membership somewhere and stop being a nerd lifting copy paper boxes." But like anything is better than nothing.
Yeah, I think maintaining a semblance of fitness is what you have to do sometimes. You have to understand that you're not going to make gains, whenever you're traveling, when you're gone for 3 weeks or something like that. You just might have to just
Do some
keep
cardio.
keep what you got. You know,
Yeah.
not end up gaining 15 pounds of fat, because you went on vacation for a month. But I think that's where your work ethic and intensity have to, the mental intensity that you were talking about earlier has to be in there, because if you're not intense about your body, or focused, or caring about what you have, especially if you got it pretty easy, then it goes away really easy. I mean, if I ever want to feel good, I always just check my old Facebook page and see see all these guys that are my age that are just fucking fat.
Oh, just go to your
Dude,
local Walmart.
yeah, you were
Walk around like a king in there.
yeah, or I mean, with the whole Facebook thing, you get the people that were, your same size though. You knew them from high school, and you're like, dude, that was the fucking quarterback, and that guy was, king. Now look at his fat ass. So that's one thing I like to do if I ever get a little bit of a emotional turn down off something. Usually when I fail a PR, I'll just log on to Facebook and be like, all right, I feel better about myself.
I mean, going to Walmart these days is risky. You can get shot.
Oh man, yeah. No politics, damn it.
No, I know. Sorry, but no, it's tragic and unfortunate. Definitely don't get shot. But no, I mean, I just by virtue of proximity, I will go to various grocery stores after the gym because like, oh well, hey, I have a busy life, right? I work. I'm a single dad. I got a limited time, so if excuse me, if I need eggs because I eat a lot of eggs, guess what? I got to run to the grocery store. I'm going to run in there, and I'm still pumped and sweaty and crazy from the gym. And yeah, you see normal people, and they look at you like you're crazy because you're all pumped and sweaty, right? And you're walking around with 64 eggs in your hands, and you're like, man. But then you walk by and you're like, Snickers? No, don't eat Snickers. It's terrible for you.
What's your egg thing? Do you go get the half crate or whatever it is, the 30
Dude,
eggs at Walmart?
yeah, I get like the 60. It's like like it's ridiculous, right? But it's like $4.
Yeah, 60
Hell
eggs
yeah.
for $4.
That's like 68 eggs for $4. I'm crushing
Dude,
like
that's like
9 eggs a day.
3 eggs a dozen at my grocery store.
Yeah.
If no one knows this, which if you're watching the podcast, you do. Chad is famous for his pocket eggs. He will post pictures of him out in the bush, and he's got 4 or 5 eggs in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Good old pocket eggs.
Yeah, you get pocket eggs, you just get whatever, right? But no, I mean, you can do the same thing with other foods, right? It doesn't have to be eggs. You can carry around like the dollar pouches of tuna, or you don't have to add crappy things like sugar from candy bars to up your total calories if you're trying to gain size and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I did it for many years. Like the dirty bulk. Hell yeah, greatest excuse for me to go to McDonald's and get double cheeseburgers and just get a whole bag of them and walk around like a fat greasy slob. And I'm like, oh great, cool. Look how huge I'm getting. And then okay, cool. Well, I'm getting pretty big and my clothes don't fit, and I got really bad acne because I'm greasy all the time. I guess I should probably cut down. You know how fucking hard it is to burn all that fat off, and then like, okay, how much am I keeping?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So it's there's all these crazy memes about like, okay, bulking and cutting, and yeah, great, yes, definitely do that, but you can clean bulk, and it's harder, right? It takes a little bit longer, but eating the right foods at the right time with the right protein content and the right the right carbs and the right fats, you're gonna make much better and longer lasting progress. Like you're gonna gain actual muscle, not like I'm gonna gain size. There's a difference between gaining size and gaining muscle, right? Because is it water weight? Is it fat? Is it muscle? Or are you just like super pumped up and like you got blood all over your forearms and you look huge?
All right, so we actually got a real decent question. We'll go ahead and ask Bronson, what do you do post workout?
As far as food, or
Yep, post workout food. We got that question from Rory.
it really depends what time of the day I go to the gym. A lot of the times it's after work, which I get home around dinner. It's whatever the wife makes, and she knows like make healthy shit. Benefits everybody in the house. Chicken baked is pretty good. Side of rice, some healthy carbs. I mean, if you're trying to cut, you got to keep the carbs down. You can eat healthy carbs. I mean, you don't have to starve yourself to cut, but beef is good. Basically, anything protein is what I center around, with healthy stuff around that. Healthy fats, of course, like Chad's mentioning here too. Uh, you get good fats from meat. You don't have to be too worried about how much fat you're taking in if you're eating like beef a lot and stuff.
So I actually have been doing. My wife's actually pretty awesome. I'm not gonna talk too much more about that, but she
Good for
she's
you.
gotten this trail mix. It's like a fruit nut trail mix from the Kroger's, and you do that with protein after workout. It's got a great whatever profile. It's got because it's got some dried apricots in it. It's got dried pineapples, but it's also got cashews and
Soy.
walnuts and the good stuff. So yeah, that with a shaker of milk, whole milk, and a scoop of protein is because the big thing about protein that people, especially the protein companies, don't want you to know is your body can only process so much protein at one time, and then after that time period, all that protein is just calories. It's actually not protein that can be synthesized into muscle. So it's not that it's bad that you take too much protein in, but it's not getting the effect that you want it to. So it actually has a real good balance. I mean, it ends up being like 75 grams of protein, then you got your fat, and then some carbs because it's got the dried pineapples and apricots and stuff. But Chad, what do you do for your post workout post gym workout?
Sit in my truck in the parking lot and post on Instagram. No, I'm kidding. No, I try and have dinner as soon as I possibly can after my workout. Mostly because I work out late in the evening, so I'm usually absolutely starving. Um, but I consume the vast majority of my carbs post workout. So my diet is it's very consistent, right? I will eat fairly high protein, low carb breakfast, right? Because hey, guess what? I do move around in with my job. I do need some carb energy, right? I tried to do the whole like keto no carb thing, and it just fucking sucked. I hated it. And I like breakfast carbs. But usually my lunch is very, very, very basic, right? I will have, lean protein and vegetables, right? So you're getting a couple carbs in there, but like I'm not wolfing down a cup of rice with my lunch. But then like tonight, for instance, I had pasta, right? I ate carbonara in the car. Hey, but no, I had protein pasta, right? I mean, it's still carbs, but there's somewhat higher protein in there. There's some vegetables. It's good for you, right? So they say. But yeah, so I try and eat something. I try not to make it a massive meal to the point where I'm just absolutely bloated and I can't function anymore. But
Bloat max.
oh no, man, God, you
I
just.
hate the bloat max.
I mean, dude, I loved being like 250 plus. I felt amazing, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty good right now at 230, and I look amazing. So no, it's one of those. A lot of people will be like, okay, hey, we got to hit the protein shake immediately, and yeah, great, it's delicious. Eat some real food, right? Get like actual food, like in some Tupperware, and eat it in the parking lot, or drive home and eat dinner with your family. That's probably a much
You
better thing to recommend.
pack snacks to work too. That helps. Every day I have a bone broth, tuna packet, and a protein bar. Every day at work, bust them out at like 10 a.m. and eat them.
Yeah, I every day I work, I eat the exact same food at my work. I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, it's the exact same. I mean, it's boring. Every once in a while, I'll change it up, go from ham to turkey or something like that. But for the most part, it's always the same. So we're getting around the hour mark. I want to go ahead and mention that there are links in the description box for a couple different things on intensity. One from the Mayo Clinic and one from a very good website that I recommend, Powerlifting to Win. It helped me whenever I was a newbie. But we're gonna go ahead and start getting with the closing thoughts. I know we always get into talking about food. I guess that's just the lifters in us. Is we always end up talking about what we should eat and how we should eat it. But
Hey, it's a big part of what we do is our diet.
that's exactly right. The eating is. I didn't start gaining weight until I took my eating as seriously as I did my lifting.
Yeah, no, you're not going to get anything. You can be in the gym 7 days a week lifting, but if you don't eat, you're getting nothing out of it.
Exactly. Is there anything you wanted to leave us on as far as intensity goes, Mr. Vandal?
Um, yeah, if you are walking out of the gym and you're not like just drenched in sweat, and with absolute self-reflecting honesty that you have nothing left in the tank, whether it was an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours in the gym, um, if you're leaving gains on the table, then you know what, you got to push harder the next day. Um, this is a very selfish kind of thing that we do. It can be a group activity, but at the end of the day, the only person that knows whether or not you gave 100% effort is you. And so lying to yourself is going to do nobody any good. So be honest with yourself. Hey, if if you want to have French fries, eat some French fries, right? But you got to pay for them, right? You got to pay that pain debt. So understand that if you are putting crap fuel into the machine that is your body, and then you're trying to go, drag race it, you're not going to perform as well. So put the right fuel in your body and then train the right way, and you will be absolutely amazed at what your human body can do. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Mr. Bronson?
Oh, did you cut out?
Yeah, you cut out. Go ahead, start over. Uh-oh.
I think we're having. You hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, good. Closing thoughts on intensity. Yeah, just like what Chad said, you got to be giving your 100% every day. You can't just sit there on your phone at the gym the entire time you're there and you do a few sets here, you wasted some time, all of a sudden you have to get going and you're like, oh, I've only done like 4 workouts. It's like you might as well have not even have gone to the gym today. You got to take it seriously. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know how many sets you're doing of what's your main focus. You got to have a plan when you're going in there, a routine, a program, whatever it might be. It's something you got to take seriously. It's a hobby, but it's also a full-time job.
Awesome. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to a couple of the new members on the Lift Off a Thread. We got like Bronze Age Gribble. He's been doing all right, and then we have Davey Crockett, 3Ds, 3Cs. The Thigh Master. She's another one. Let's see who else. Am I missing anybody, Bronson?
I don't know. I
Leaf,
feel like we have so
Supreme
many new
Leaf.
guys.
We're seeming to gain one person about a week. Every week we're seeming to gain. It's getting bigger and bigger. That thread gets bigger and bigger. It's fucking awesome. If you guys remember, if you want to hop on the thread, it's in Twitter. You have to follow Jack. I don't even know how to say Wandervogel or something like that.
Vandervogel.
Yeah, you have to follow him, and he puts the threads up every week. You just hop in and you post workouts. They do get off into tangents, not sometimes, but every time, and and just post your workouts. I will be in there posting workouts. I post 3 times a week at least, as far as workouts go. That's just what I do. Is three full body days, and that's the way I keep my intensity up. Is I fit as much as I can into 3 days, because if I try to spread it out a bunch, I don't get as much as other people do. Whenever I stretch it out, it really, if I'm not squatting almost every time I walk into the gym, I feel like I'm not doing something. I have to squat and deadlift every time I go in the gym. Or if I go in and do an arm day, like 5 minutes after I'm out of the gym, I'm just like, I feel like deflated. I'm like, I could go back in and do another day. And I know I killed myself in the gym. It's just the way I don't know. It's the way I guess I've been taxing my CNS so much that whenever I do a lot of isolation movements, it just doesn't have the same effect on my mental. But as far as intensity goes, what I will say is there are, you can measure it by how hard you're breathing and your heart rate, and you can also measure it by just percentage or 1 rep max. And the third way of is just sweat. That's another good way of measuring how intense something is. We just got to remember that no matter how intense we feel, whenever we go in next time, we want to try to improve on that. We don't want to just go in there and expect, Zumba is something I've been beating up on here this whole episode, but those girls, they go in there and just go kill it, and they think they've done, but then the next week they do the exact same thing and they feel just as tired. Well, your body adapts to that intensity pretty quick. So if you're getting in there and you're sweating, just because you're sweating doesn't necessarily mean you got it all done. It's you got to try to improve, and that's why, like Bronson was saying, you need to keep, at least for me, I have to keep a workout log. Keeping a workout log keeps you honest. It definitely shows, especially now with the workout logs. They have those apps. They'll show you every single marker and everything you could ever want to know, as far as your volume or 1 rep max and stuff like that. I mean, if you're increasing your volume from week to week, odds are you're getting bigger or stronger, at least. I mean, if you're not losing weight, you're getting strong. Or if you're losing weight, you're probably getting stronger if you're increasing volume, or you're losing more weight. And that's an easy way to adjust things. If you notice that you're not getting where you want, you adjust the intensity by shortening your rest periods, by adding volume, by adding or taking away sets depending on your rep schemes. You mess around with that. All these things can mess with the intensity without having just to I hate to be a little contrary to what Chad's saying, going in there and killing yourself. You need to be smart about it also. Killing yourself is fun, but we got to be smart too. If you're just going in there killing yourself every day, you end up like a Zumba person, not getting anywhere. But you got to get in there and kill yourself at the same time. So now I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. And with that, if there's any questions, we'll go ahead and take those real quick. We got about 3 minutes before we're going to head out. And man, this was a good episode. I mean, we got a little lost in the food talk a little bit, but next one we will probably be doing frequency is what I'm thinking.
Intensity is just a really hard thing to define. You can't go on about it for too long.
Yeah, we're
more of a feeling than a definition.
It's no, but yeah, no. It's what did you? I'm sorry, I missed. What are we doing next week or next episode?
Frequency. You know,
All right.
there's so many different schools of thoughts and frequency on how often you should hit a muscle group and stuff like that. Basically, we're just trying to, if we were brand new, the things we'd want to try to tell people that are new without being on top of them in a thread. Because I find myself doing that sometimes. Whenever someone posts something, I'm like, I just go and I'm like, start typing out this big long diatribe on why they shouldn't be doing isolation movements before they do their compound movements and everything. And then I'm like, erase, never mind. But so what do we? So we got Trap Lord. Oh, we got. How you doing, Mr. Trap Lord? He's asking about healthy snacks. There's a lot of different things you can do as a healthy snack. The pocket egg is the official podcast healthy snack. But I mean, like I said, those trail mixes, you can get trail mixes if you buy them big bags over at it's Gribble. Yeah, so me and Gribble are actually gonna meet up. He's gonna come over to the gym because his gym is his normie gym. So he's gonna come over and get hitting in my athletic club. So I think we'll be doing that at the end of next month, as far as I remember.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, so real quick, healthy snacks, whatever, right? Doesn't have to be expensive, right? Beef jerky, fruit. You can have all kinds of different stuff.
Tuna.
But yeah, nuts, tuna. I mean, it's. I'm a snacker, right? I love snacks, and if I don't have something that is, healthy, guess what? I'm gonna end up going and crushing an entire bag of Takis, over the course of one day, sitting around at my desk. Not good, right? Now I got. So, yeah, nuts. I keep like instant oatmeal in a drawer in my desk, because yes, it's a little bit higher in sugar, but you know what? If I need to, throw a bowl of instant oatmeal in the microwave, and okay, cool, I'll knock back a couple hundred calories, but it's probably going to stick to my ribs a little bit better, and it's going to keep me fuller longer than crunching down on a bag of potato chips that you got from the vending machine for $1.
My boy has bogarted the oatmeal. I'm about ready to suplex him. He's eating all the oatmeal, and if I start to eat some oatmeal, he's like, "That's mine." I'm like, "What are you talking about? This is everything in the house is mine. I don't know what you're talking about, but you see that video game? That's mine. Everything's mine." He's starting to bogart it. He'll eat it every day, and he loves it.
Good.
But all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get off here. It's been a great episode. We appreciate everybody showing up, especially Dan. Dan, you made the chat a little fun. We like a little bit of interaction.
Pretty sure at one point in time he was hitting on me.
He was a little bit. There's no question about it. He definitely wanted to see the pic. Slide up into his DMs.
No. $20 is $20 though.
Oh shit. Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention is that we will be moving to audio, or not moving, but we will be adding audio of the podcast on SoundCloud. I am currently working with that today, so hopefully by tomorrow the first episode will be on SoundCloud. We have been getting a lot of questions about why we're only on YouTube and why not multi-platform if we have the ability to. I just use YouTube because this is something that I've been using for a while. It was what's easy to me. I just never did mess with the other stuff. But yeah, we got to multi-platform to try to get a bigger audience, because why not? We need to spread the message. And with that, I'll say goodbye. And
are we gonna do plugs?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask. I don't have, check out the Twitter thread, and any plugs, Bronson?
You can follow me on Twitter at jnigscience. I don't know where I am right now. I've been banned about 100 times, but I'm going to try to keep my mouth clean, see how long I last on there.
Mr. Vandal, any parting
I got
words?
nothing.
I don't know if you plug anything.
I am not
anymore.
on social media.
So he says.
I'm really, I'm not though. No, I mean, hey, look, go outside. It's summertime. Spend time outdoors. I'm gonna plug nature. You know, go hang out with the fucking trees. Go to your farmer's market. You know, shut up. Go to your farmer's market on Saturday morning, right? Like, just be around normal, nice people. Get off the internet.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. I will be having a birthday party for the boy this weekend. It is not his birthday this weekend, of course. That's the way the world works. But he will be 6. I think I did post on the on my Twitter, the little Chadlet, doing a couple pull-ups. I wanted to try to get him to do 6, but he only got 2. So I had to suplex him, but it's all right. Yeah, so we will be back in 2 weeks next Friday at 8:30 p.m. Look for the we will not be calling it Lift Waffle Podcast on SoundCloud. We will be calling it Curling in the Squat Rack.
Yeah, this is not the Lift Waffle podcast. So
Yeah, that's exactly what, that's, whenever you mention the thing, this is not a politics-based podcast. This is about lifting. We are, politics is one thing, but I like lifting, and I don't want to have arguments about why Drumpf is Drumpf.
Politics are fake and gay.
Yeah, yep. Bar never lies. Politicians will.
Oh, I like that.
And with that, I will say goodbye. See you guys later.